overview of stuff going on at the Department of Revenue and in other areas. I think we're making progress. Our unemployment rate is coming down. We see some good indicators in terms of the rate of formation of new businesses is up. Real estate prices are stabilizing. It looks like the real estate market is starting to turn around. In terms of our state tax collections, the Department of Revenue increased our revenue estimates for the current fiscal year and for the next fiscal year in May above the previous estimates. We're just reaching the end of our fiscal year, which ends on June 30th, and it's now clear that our collections are going to come in just slightly ahead of those estimates for the current fiscal year. So that's good news. We always watch that very nervously, but we're on track, or maybe just a little ahead of where we thought we'd be in terms of our revenue collections, so that's a good sign. Always nervous about, as probably everybody in business is nervous about what's going on with the European debt crisis or things in the Middle East, but despite some of those challenges for the national economy, things are going well here in the state. And we've seen some surveys of businesses that indicate that people think we're heading in the right direction. Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce did a survey a few months ago, and they asked business leaders, do you think the state's heading in the right direction? And 94% said yes. So that seems to be a good sign that people think we're moving in the right direction. But we know we need to keep working on all these issues, so there's lots to do in the future. I guess I just want to thank everybody here for doing business in the state of Wisconsin. And I'll end my remarks and take any questions or any suggestions, any input from people about other things we should be thinking about besides those that I mentioned. So thanks very much. Yeah, and let me just say for all of these things, if you go to our website, there's, for a lot of the items that are listed in that brochure, there's a 1 or 2 page paper that gives a little more of an overview, and then if people still need further information, you can call us. We have a number of sort of technical services people who can get into a little more detail, but the job creation deduction that we created last year was a deduction for people hired, I guess I don't remember the exact time frame, so I should be a little bit careful, but I think it was for both 2011 and 2012, and I'm not sure if it extends beyond this biennium or not, so we have to check that, but it's a 4,000 additional deduction for each person hired for small companies and a 2,000 additional deduction for large companies, and no restrictions on the type of business. Thank you. And there's a question back here, I guess. Did you have a question during my remarks, or did I answer it as I was talking?
I think you might have at least partially answered it. I came in a little bit late, and I was, on all the things that are in this brochure, these are things that are already in the law through the budget bill or otherwise.
Yeah, some of them were in existence prior to 2011, and a number of them are the things that we put in place in 2011. So we kind of wanted to lay out sort of the full range of things that are available. And one danger is you talk about the new things and forget to remind people about some advantageous things that are already in place.
Right, and then the second part of my question was, I guess it sort of went to similar to Matt's question about definitions and getting the details. I understand it's available at the website, so I'll give it maybe more specific. In agriculture specifically, are there types of activities that this is trying to stimulate other than just agriculture? I mean, is there any examples of things that are trying to be encouraged by this?
Yeah, with the manufacturing and agriculture tax credit I was talking about, those are broad-based, and so they aren't targeted at any specific manufacturing or any sector. There are some previously existing credits that are in this. I guess the bad news with some of this stuff is that some of it does get complicated. You got to kind of look at specific definitions, but there are some things that are available, for instance, just for dairy operations. And then you gotta, I guess, look at the definition of what's a dairy operation. So, sometimes people are interested in targeting a particular sector, and that's good in terms of helping that sector, but it does make things a little more complicated.
Okay, but if I understand it correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong. The way it operates is that it's sort of a pull to encourage agriculture and manufacturing by, say, if you boost your income from manufacturing exemption or even your existing income, you're going to have a reduced tax burden. So come to Wisconsin to more of this because you'll have a lower tax burden.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really saying for those sectors, you know, we've got particularly attractive tax climate compared to most other states.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Just know that too, Secretary Jim. We work with Mary Gage, is our area development representative for the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. She has a lot of insight into exactly which programs are applicable. So if anyone has specific questions or something with your company, certainly get a hold of me, and I can get you various information too. She's been a great resource for us on that as well. So.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I should have said that too. I mean, for stuff in the tax area, our website is probably the best place to go, but for a lot of the other incentives, the WEDC website is the place to go. We've got links back and forth, but we really would encourage people, if you've got something where you're wondering whether there might be something that might be helpful, Mary is a person to call who can steer you in the right direction.
It's really concerning the retirees that we're losing due to our Wisconsin. Kiplinger says that Wisconsin is in the top 8 worst places to retire, and this is in part due to, I'm sure as you know, the onerous taxes on pensions and passive investments. Of course, property taxes play into that. But are there any efforts that you know of that we're taking so that we can kind of stop that drain that the state is experiencing, where people are retiring, grabbing their nest egg, and leaving the state?
Yeah, that's, and again, you can look at different rankings and see different results, but I think that ranking is probably looking at the fact that we have higher individual income taxes than the average state and higher property taxes. So looking at income tax reductions will help with that, and keeping property taxes stable will help with that. A couple of things that are important to realize for people who are retired. We don't have any estate tax at the state level anymore. We used to, but it's been eliminated. So a lot of states do. 20 or 25 states have estate tax. That's helpful. We don't tax all Social Security income. Most states tax a lot more Social Security income than we do. So those are a couple of things where we have an advantage over other states. Other states have slightly lower or no personal income taxes and lower property taxes. So, you know, it's a picture that's not black and white. So we can do better, but you know, it's not something where you can say that other states are way up here and we're way down here. It's more of a spectrum, I guess.
I've noticed that there were quite a few states that are offering specific incentives for seniors along the lines of, with regards to property taxes, they would forego, say, the first $100,000 of value without taxing it for a senior, or for someone moving into the state and bringing their pension with them, that they would have either a reduced or no tax on that transfer of wealth into the state. So specific programs, you know, that, like you mentioned, a lot of states have actively trying to woo our seniors, and it's working.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, it's all a balance, and I don't know how many states do that, but I know there are some. In terms of property taxes, we have what's called a uniformity clause, where all property that's taxed has to be taxed at the same rate. So unlike other states, we can't promise businesses that are moving here that they're going to have a lower tax property tax rate than anybody else. We can't promise seniors a lower property tax rate. The good side of that is that, for instance, in states like that, non-seniors complain, hey, wait a minute, if the seniors are getting a break, I'm paying more. If a new business is getting a break, an existing business is then shouldering a greater percentage. So it kind of cuts both ways. So I know there are some states with that, but it's not an unmixed blessing. It's something that raises some other issues. So on the property tax side, we can't do it because of our Constitution, but even if we could, there's reasons to be concerned about that kind of approach.
I just have a question. As a non-business owner, can businesses tell me what kinds of taxes you pay? Do you pay on the profit that you make throughout the year, or what do you collect from the business owners?
Yeah, it's really and I think this is important because people sometimes just focus on corporate income taxes and don't look at anything else. A lot of businesses pay taxes on their business income through the corporate income tax. Businesses that are organized as what are called subchapter S corporations or partnerships or limited liability corporations pay taxes on their business income on a pass-through basis, is the phrase, and that means that they don't pay taxes at the corporate level. They pass through their corporate income to their shareholders or owners, who then pay it through their personal income tax. So those are the two ways that the income of the businesses is taxed. Businesses, to a greater or lesser extent, depending on the type of business they're in, pay property taxes. I mean, all businesses pay property taxes on their land and their buildings, just like individuals do.
That goes to like some current.
Yep. And, you know, the school district, the county, the municipality. And businesses also pay taxes on a lot of their personal property. So back in the 70s, we exempted manufacturing machinery and equipment. They used to pay taxes on that, but most businesses, or all businesses, still pay taxes on things like, you know, their desks, their furniture, other personal property that they have. Inventories are exempt, and some other specific categories are exempt. But I think it's important to realize that, you know, businesses like individuals pay taxes on land and buildings, and individuals don't pay taxes on any of their personal property. Businesses pay property taxes on some of their personal property. Businesses pay sales taxes on some of the goods and services they purchase, basically the same as individuals, with certain exceptions. You know, if you buy steel to make a motorcycle, if it's incorporated into the final product, it's exempt from sales tax on the theory that, you know, the motorcycle is going to be subject to sales tax when it's taxed. But things like basic office supplies and other types of supplies, businesses pay sales tax on those. So I guess you would say, like individuals, businesses pay taxes on income, taxes on property, and sales tax on purchases. And then I guess people would say I should probably also add to the list, you know, unemployment compensation taxes, workers' compensation taxes, and things like that.